Hi everyone, this is Brad from Board Game Geek. I'm here with Simone, who is developing Heroes of Normandy for digital platforms. Can you tell us a little bit about the game and how you came upon it?
Yes, I was looking, really, I was searching for a board game because I love board games, and I had in my mind a project. I wanted to find a game that could be good for the iPad, for mobile, essentially. And I was looking for board games because I'm not good as a game designer. So I was looking for good game design, well-designed games. So it was a hard search because not all board games are well suited for the digital versions. I think one every 1,000 if you're lucky. And one lucky day is almost exactly 1 year ago. I came upon this after a lot of searching and researching. I found a Kickstarter project. This was launched in May of last year, and I almost immediately, really fell in love with it. There was no question. I remember the website. Kickstarter pages sometimes are very, very long. They were displaying so much content, but I fell in love just in the first page. So you can imagine when I arrived at the end of the web page, I was crazy. I became crazy, and no, really became crazy. From that day, I continuously were thinking about this game, and I was telling myself, no, I have to have this game. I have to produce this game. I have to develop this game. But I had many problems because nobody knows me. I have no great pedigree as no past games produced, so I'm pretty no one in this industry, and I didn't know how to sell myself and this project to the French guys. So my plan was to get immediately a license from the French guys for the video game version. So my plan essentially was to get some faith from Slytherin first, and then the French guys. And the plan went very well because immediately in July and June I contacted Slytherin, simply because I met Slytherin guys in Essen, the Spiel the Play event in October. I met casually by chance with Marco, which is also Italian. So we met, we exchanged numbers, and a year later, that was very important because I had a big contact with Slytherin. I took a flight for London immediately to meet Jan and JD from Slytherin, and I told them about my project. They gave me support. I don't know why, and so immediately after, I wrote an email. I contacted by telephone the designers of the board game, and I had a meeting with them, and now we are.
That's very cool. So a lot of, I think, our readers aren't going to be familiar with the board game since it's going to be released this year. So a lot of people haven't had a chance to play it yet. What was it about the board game that made you think it would make a great digital game?
Well, there are some objective reasons, but at first I had a feeling, it's difficult to explain, I had a feeling when I saw simply the pictures, when I had a chance to read the rule book, I thought this was a video game more than a board game, don't know why. So I immediately imagined the video game version, what we had to do to make it with a good interface with the game pieces, with the game logics, with the game mechanics, the changes we would have to make. So I immediately saw a video game. I think it can be a good video game because because it's visually appealing, in my opinion. So I think that's very important. All the graphics are hand-drawn. There are a lot of maps, a lot of units, a lot of items you use in the game, and everything is really, it's great graphics in my opinion, and that's the first thing. Second thing is that I was looking not for any kind of board game. I was looking for a fast-paced game mechanics, and I think this game is perfect, almost perfect. Okay, not every game is perfect, but this is very fast-paced. when I had the chance to play it, it was exactly as I imagined. Yeah, I could play a simple mission in 10 minutes, or in the biggest ones you can play in the board game, I mean, and the biggest ones you can play it in 1 hour. So you can easily imagine that in the digital version, you can play it in much shorter time because the computer handles all computations, calculations, the setup of the game. So as a player, this was a game I would love to see on the iPad and maybe also on the PC as a player. And essentially, that's the big things about the game. It's very fast-paced, simple to learn. Everybody says simple to learn and difficult to master. I know, but this is really simple to learn, I think. And yet, it's very appealing from experience to hardcore gamers too, because it seems simple, but when you start to use all the different units, all the units' abilities, when you play more complex scenarios, you have something for the hardcore gamer also. So it's pretty deep, in my opinion.
That's very interesting. I like that. You said it earlier that it was, kind of 1 in 1,000 games really works well on iPad. It also seems like it works good for online multiplayer, maybe asynchronous, so you can take your turn and then pass it to your friend.
Yeah, as a multiplayer, I think it's much more difficult to bring to the digital version, simply because maybe it's a problem, and maybe it's only me to see the problem, but typically, where gamers love to take their time, play their turn, and then send by email the turn to their opponent, right, and then give the opponent all the time he wants to play their turn. In this game, you do not play a complete turn. This is a I go, you go game. So you move one unit, your opponent immediately after moves one of his units. So technically it's possible, but it's not the usual way strategy multiplayer games are played. So we have to we have to put a lot of effort to make a good multiplayer version. I think it's difficult. I think it's going to be difficult. We can do that, but I think it's a challenge. The idea, we want the player experience to be very fast. So we have to, there are some mechanics of the game which slow down the game. For example, playing of cards during the opponent turn can be a problem. So we do not want to interrupt the game. So we will make some changes in order to make the multiplayer experience satisfying as possible.
That's really good to hear. That you're willing to work with what will work on the platform. Just one question, or one thing I really enjoyed about watching the presentation today was the art style that you've used. I usually complain when I see straight up game components in a game, but that's not what you've done at all. I mean, they are the tiles of the game, but they've been animated in really interesting ways. And I think, like you said, the art's really great. How did you make that decision to stick with kind of the original game pieces?
Sorry, I couldn't. I think I.
Sorry, it was kind of a rambling question, but your art style, you decided to kind of stick with looking like the original game. How did you come up with that decision, and what was your process behind that?
You mean why did we stick exactly with the same
kind of art? Yeah. So you're still using tiles instead of maybe like a 3D tank or.
Okay. Yes. I think this is a good question. I've been really thinking a lot about this. I can tell you that I'm talking for myself, but we are a team, so everything we have decided. I'm the team leader, but every decision is taken as a team, and we all agree that this game should be ported to the digital version as it is, as a board game. Simply because we think that the great thing about this game is something that we call the toy factor. I mean, one of the best things as players, things that we appreciate the most about this board game is the fact that you have physical pieces, you have many units. There's something like toys, no? Toys that you can play with. So in my opinion, it's one of the best things of this game is to say, wow, this is a great a tank. I want to use it immediately. So we wanted to give players the same feeling we have while we play the board games. So we are planning to make an interface such as so that it replicates the board game. So you will move pieces around, you will raise pieces and move them on the board. We want to bring some physicality to the game and not to make an abstract strategy game. So we want to stick with a board game experience. And we hope that this allows the players to have the same feelings we have. We want to collect all units, we want to buy all expansions just to have them. No, maybe not on purpose, just to have them.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you. And that was my next question. I know there's a stack of expansions already planned for the game. Will we?
Ready,
Oh yeah, they're printed here. Would we be able to see those in the digital version as well?
Yes. In the first version of the game, you will have everything you're seeing here. So essentially the base game, where you will find the U.S. and German armies, and then we will in the complete game, you will find a Commonwealth expansion with this is a big expansion because it brings a whole new army, the British Army, Canadians, Australians, with their own characteristics, their own cards, there are many special things for them. And you will also find a German expansion and another US Army expansion. You will find all this content in the first version of the game. And then we are planning to release immediately after a D-Day expansion, which is a fun expansion because it brings a lot of new maps, wet beaches, amphibious vehicles, and a different tactical experience, different tactical problems.
So, excuse me, is there a timeline for the game about maybe when it will be released?
Hopefully November this year, and we plan to release new campaigns, new additional units. Some units and some campaigns will be immediately available as in-app purchases, and in the following months, depending a lot on the success of the game, we already have a lot of new content. For example, a big expansion will be Stalingrad, so more urban fighting cities. That is a big change from the Normandie scenery. Maybe the Stalingrad expansion could come 6 months later or less.
That's very cool, and I like that you have a lot of content both at launch and planned following afterwards. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to checking this out. Is there anywhere people can go right now if they want to know more about the game?
Yes, unfortunately, we have still not a website online, but we were planning to publish it as the last thing in September. But now, since we are in this event, we are forced to release a website, so we'll be ready next month. Okay. Unfortunately, we're not ready. You can find any information maybe in Slytherin's website for sure, and also on the Devil Pig Games website, because the two games are following the same path. So, and we are collaborating every day with them on expansions, on content, on gameplay. So we're a team.
Thank you so much.